Coming up on this 12 News special presentation, you'll meet people who stepped up to make a difference.
And the next thing I knew, I was over there. I mean, I could see he needed help, and I ran over.
Whether it was running into a burning building to save a life or helping others far away.
Those kids have become my second family.
They leave thankful people in their wake.
There's no words that describe it. I mean, I'm so grateful for the second chance I got.
Stepping Up is next on 12 News. Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining us for this special edition of 12 News.
We're focusing on people who step up in difficult, sometimes dangerous situations when they don't have to.
But they can make a difference that inspires all of us. We first met Paul Pranghofer of Golden Valley in January as he was getting ready for his 5th mission trip to Haiti. As Renee Bonneau reports, he's giving more than his time and money.
Those kids have become my second family.
For several years, Paul Pranghofer's watched a special group of children grow up.
We have a couple of the kids that have CP, and then there's just a wide variety that we're just not sure what their disabilities are because they've never been diagnosed.
The children live at a special needs home called Mephibosheth House in Port-au-Prince, Haiti. When he can, Pranghofer visits the home with a group from Church of the Open Door in Maple Grove. Their main mission, to make the kids feel loved.
I love soccer, and we do a lot of soccer with the kids. They love soccer, and some of their athletic ability just astounds me.
The trips often test the abilities of the kids and Pranghofer.
I'm missing both arms completely at the shoulders.
Being born without arms and with a short right leg hasn't stopped Pranghofer from living a normal life.
I can probably do almost anything that most people can do with their fingers with my toes.
He's not a victim to the fact he's got 2 arms missing. He is not a victim. He's a coach. He's a referee. He's married. He's had a career. He serves at his church. Paul's a hero.
Steve Hansen leads the mission trips to Haiti and says Pranghofer inspires the children to push themselves.
Just maybe your feet can do things that you never thought possible. Just maybe your voice can do something you never thought possible. And Paul brings such hope to our staff, to the kids, and to their relatives.
While Pranghofer's mobility is limited and French Creole practically non-existent, he's certain his message of hope is reaching the children.
I have no trouble with communication. I mean, there's just certain things that are just, no matter where you go, it's just part of, you understand.
Pranghofer plans to return to Haiti in January, and something different this trip, he's organizing a Special Olympics competition for the children.
When emergencies happen, your intuition probably tells you to call for help, but others rush in to offer help. That's what Thomas White of Crystal did when he spotted a house fire. We caught up with him as Brooklyn Center was honoring citizens. White was having lunch nearby when a fire broke out at a Brooklyn Center home. Before firefighters could even get there, White was already working to save the life of a disabled woman inside.
The lady that was in there was in a hospital bed. She was a double amputee, and we just had to get her out of there. I mean, the house was burning, so we got her in a wheelchair, wheeled her through the door and on the ramp, and got her out to where there was fresh air and where she was safe.
White was honored with a Citizen Service Medal by the Brooklyn Center Police Department.
And speaking of honors, a Brooklyn Center woman who has spent decades helping the poor received the nation's 2nd highest civilian honor for her service. President Obama presented Mary Jo Copeland with the Presidential Citizens Medal for founding Sharing and Caring Hands in Minneapolis. The nonprofit provides food, shelter, medical help, and other services to those in need. Her goal is to help those who cannot get welfare help. Copeland serves as director and does not receive a salary for her work.
Her unyielding vision for stronger neighborhoods has inspired people nationwide, and her compassion for the poor and the marginalized speaks to the depth of the human spirit. The United States honors Mary Jo Copeland for sparking hope in those who need it most.
Copeland says she hopes the national attention will inspire others to follow her example.
A Maple Grove man is among 25 veterans across the state recognized for not only serving his country, but also serving his community. Governor Dayton presented Ryan Erickson with the 25 Veterans Voices Award for helping returning soldiers thrive in civilian life. Erickson served in the Marines from 2003 until 2007. Now he's helped other veterans find jobs in the community. Part of that includes coaching veterans to get back into the workforce.
It's a transition period from being in the service to going into the civilian life. Always willing to help out, because I've been helped out to the position where I'm at.
He says it is an honor to be recognized for his hard work.
Being married to someone in the military requires a certain amount of sacrifice.
A Brooklyn Park woman was named Minnesota's Military Spouse of the Year, not just for her sacrifice, but for her efforts to step in and help other military families. The flag outside Amy Hansen's home is a sign of the commitment she made when she married her husband, Scott.
I married this lifestyle. My husband and I got married just a few weeks after 9/11 in 2001. My eyes were wide open.
She knew back then marrying into the military could mean deployments.
Make sure you don't get going too crooked.
Then kids enter the picture, and the reality of a husband and father overseas in Kuwait and Afghanistan hits home.
In the middle of the night, if you wake up and want to go snuggle him because you're scared, he's not there.
A little higher.
With 2 daughters at home and before her husband's second deployment in 2012,
Little did I know when I was starting our network that I was going to be needing it.
Amy was the driving force in setting up a local network of support services for military families by getting Brooklyn Park designated a Beyond the Yellow Ribbon city.
It's a huge deal. It's a huge deal, especially for the families that live within Brooklyn Park that are associated with the military.
Sergeant Matt Chosis worked with Amy to get the local support network in place and says she continues to reach out to military families.
She's behind the scenes, every day, sending emails, working with other organizations within the community too.
This is my garden that was built last year by volunteers from our community.
That network helped Amy last year when her husband was deployed, but for everything she's done, Military Spouse magazine recently recognized her as Minnesota's Military Spouse of the Year.
I don't want any military family to feel alone because they're not.
Amy now wears a ring her husband gave her when he returned from deployment that says, "You're my hero" in Arabic.
He calls me his hero because we both say we couldn't do what the other person is doing.
It's another sign of their commitment to service. Right now, Brooklyn Park, Plymouth, and Maple Grove are all designated Beyond the Yellow Ribbon cities. There is a joint effort underway between Golden Valley, Robbinsdale, New Hope, and Crystal to get the designation in 2014. Our special look at people who step up to help others continues in a moment.
And coming up next, how one man's giving can be counted by the gallon. We'll be right back. Blood donations of all kinds are needed on a daily basis.
It takes a special person to take the time to help out, especially on the level of Ralph Douglas. Delane Cleveland caught up with Ralph as his blood donations reached a new milestone.
You can give the gift of life in less than an hour.
Memorial Blood Center's Plymouth Donation Center is an active place consisting of busy technicians, machines, and of course, the donors. But one particular donor has become a permanent fixture.
I'm on a first-name basis. I feel like Norm of Cheers when I walk in there. These people really do a nice job.
Ralph Douglas comes in every 2 weeks, taking up to 2 hours out of his day to donate platelets.
Helps preemie babies survive. It helps cancer victims. Platelets are a healing factor for a lot of people. It helps burn victims. It's my way of giving back. I've been blessed in a lot of different ways.
His dedication has not gone unnoticed by staff members. You see, they use his photo for marketing materials.
Our staff loves it when he comes in. He does always have a smile on his face, and he understands the impact that he can make on the lives of people in our community.
But there's something significant about today's donation.
I'm 56 years old now, and today, or thereabouts, is 70 gallons of blood.
70 gallons of blood that he's donated, accumulated over a time span that dates back to the 1970s.
It's very unique. There are fewer than probably 18 people who have reached the level of donations that Ralph has reached. And it takes a lifetime.
A lifetime spent touching the lives of others who have benefited from his generosity, such as the police officer he met 4 years ago who was shot in the line of duty.
He got emotional, a few tears, and said, "Guys like you saved my life." And 6 months later, I walked my daughter down the aisle because of that. So.
It's stories like that which keep Ralph coming back month after month.
I've been blessed in many ways with wonderful marriage, sobriety, and it's just my way of giving back.
In Plymouth, Delane Cleveland, 12 News.
And we have a quick update. A spokeswoman from the Memorial Blood Centers says Ralph is now up to 74 gallons. That means he's sat in the donor chair nearly 600 times. Right now, more than 3,000 people in Minnesota are awaiting an organ transplant.
Each year at North Memorial Medical Center, more than a dozen donors step up to answer that call. Renee Bonneau met one family whose loss led to renewed life.
He loved to hunt, he loved to fish, he loved people. He lived on the wild side of life, I would say. We were always afraid, Debbie and I, just because of his risk-taking, that someday we're going to get a call.
On October 13th, 2006, Jeff Pouliot's family got a call, one they never saw coming.
And they said that he had, in his sleep, had a stroke, massive stroke.
At 34 years old, Jeff had a brain hemorrhage that left irreparable damage, but the rest of his body was in good condition, making him an ideal candidate for organ donation.
Not only did Jeff have it on his license, but he had talked to all of us about it. And so we were grateful that we heard it from his lips, you know, that was something he wanted to do. And so it was not a hard decision for us at all.
It was a decision that saved Leroy Wegscheid's life.
I had congestive heart failure about 20 years, and then I had 4 heart attacks and got to the point where it was no good.
Leroy was on a transplant waiting list for 5 months when he got the call about Jeff's heart.
There's no words that describe it. I mean, I'm so grateful for the second chance I got.
Jeff and Leroy's story is just one of many that start here at North Memorial Medical Center.
Organ donors, usually about 20 to 25 per year. Tissue and eye donors, over several hundred per year.
The hospital is honoring its donors with this wall of heroes that remembers those like Jeff who gave life after death.
It sparks memories for me, and it reminds me how important it is. And, you know, the people that I have in my life, I encourage them to donate.
Somebody died to give me my heart.
Leroy and Jeff's parents all say they hope the wall shows others that donation is truly worth it.
My daughter said, "Well, Mom, our prayers weren't answered, but those other families' prayers were answered." You know, Jeff was the answer to their prayers.
You can register to be an organ, eye, and tissue donor by indicating it on your driver's license or online at donatelifemn.org. Our 12 News special presentation, Stepping Up, continues in just a moment.
Coming up next, we'll show you what one man did to protect bus riders from traffic that was too close for comfort. He stepped up to do something about it.
He saw a problem in Brooklyn Center and figured out a way to fix it.
A homeowner, Jerry Evans, stepped up, and the fix is now helping to keep others a little safer. There's a little more to Jerry Evans' front yard cleanup than just a lawn.
I'm cleaning out under the benches.
3 southern pine benches and a rock retaining wall are the solution to a problem at the bus stop outside Jerry's childhood home.
Well, it's safety for the kids, number one, and for the people crossing.
The 72-year-old retired landscape designer built this bus stop waiting area along busy Brooklyn Boulevard after seeing 3 young kids and a mom too close to the curb.
And the kids were right out here, you know, and she'd pull them back and pull them back and pull them back. I said, this is nuts. Oh, it's very dangerous. These cars come down here 60 miles an hour.
It's 35 miles per hour along Brooklyn Boulevard, but there's a big difference between being here and being here when cars zip by.
Well, it draws people in. I mean, if there's families resting here, there's, you know, it's part of the neighborhood now, so.
Eric Zarnoff remembers what it was like before the benches. He says Jerry's work makes a big difference.
We really put a lot of effort into it. We appreciate it.
The city of Brooklyn Center recognized Jerry's effort too.
It's random acts of kindness awarded to Jerry Evans for contributing the community spirit of Brooklyn Center.
He built the resting area in the name of safety, but in the process, Jerry Evans also helped build a little sense of community.
Yes, all in the name of safety, because it's basically all about safety.
Jerry is still concerned about safety along Brooklyn Boulevard and 51st Avenue. He wants to see traffic changes made around that intersection. We'll continue our special look at people who step up with the accomplishments of one man on a bike.
But this is no ride around the block. It was a 400-mile trek for a good cause.
It was the bike trip of a lifetime. A Robbinsdale man stepped up to travel thousands of miles to spread awareness about AIDS and poverty in Africa.
Michael Franzen completed a 400-mile bike trip in Zambia, a country about the size of Texas. Sonia Goins reports on his life-changing trip.
This is the one that I ride to work every day.
Look around Mike Franzen's house and you can tell he's passionate about biking.
Kind of used to doing a major ride in the summertime. Hi.
He used that passion to pedal for a good cause.
I knew money raised over there can go so much further.
Bike Zambia.
I wanted to go to Africa, especially Zambia, because it's one of the hardest hit places of HIV in the world.
He was the only Minnesotan on the team. At times, it was grueling.
This is the kind of training that I wasn't prepared for. You don't get this training on Theo Worth Trail or...
He says the spirit of the people helped when the 400-mile bike trek got hard.
I mean, no matter like how much pain you're in, you're going down the road and everyone's giving you high fives and cheering you on.
He also toured a school.
This is the girls that were singing to us.
Where a group of girls showed their appreciation through song and dance. But not everything was beautiful.
We went to a clinic.
Franzen got to see the effects of the AIDS and HIV epidemic in Africa.
The amount of people just lined up to get health care, and there was only one doctor available.
In Zambia, more than 1 in 7 adults is living with AIDS or HIV.
They had rooms that were just designated to testing people for HIV/AIDS. So you'd see moms there with their kids.
Zambia is one of Africa's poorest countries.
You hear about these countries, but when you actually see it in person, it's very different. And I think that was one of the hardest things about this ride.
Franzen says while the people he met are poor, he says they're rich in other ways.
Some of them, it seems like they have a lot in other aspects, such as, families and things like that.
He says he'll never forget the 7 days he biked through Africa and helped others in need.
It makes me feel good. I definitely want to do more. Like, it feels like such a small drop in the bucket.
Michael's team brought in more than $100,000. Some will be used to help train medical professionals in Zambia in the fight against AIDS. That's just a few of the people we've met in the past year who have stepped up for somebody else.
We hope it's been inspiring to you. Thanks so much for joining us.